Today's episode is brought to you by the Vegas Beer Guys.
Everything sequel contains explicit language. And why the fudge not, you melon farmer?
Hello and welcome to the Everything Sequel Podcast. This is a Ghoulies edition. Today, we're pitching sequels. My name is Michael Shantz of the How Dare You Awards. As always, joining me, Pitchmaster himself, Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions. Say hello, Tom.
Evil drug caffeine wakes you up. That's Royal Dano from Ghoulies 2, sounding like 20% more Walter Brennan than he maybe is. He certainly looks like Walter Brennan.
Sure.
And I think that's the idea, isn't it? He's supposed to represent that kind of a character actor, as we said, the Buddy Ebsen.
The Buddy Ebsen, yeah.
The Buddy Ebsen, Walter Brennan kind of, what's he called? Chill Wills kind of Hollywood character actor. And I use Hollywood broadly to encompass Italy.
Certainly for that movie.
I think interesting, and I haven't done all the research that I promised.
Oh, me neither.
On particularly on Ghoulies 3, but we've got a bit of time before the next episode, before the posters episode to do that. But I did find out the name of the company that produced Ghoulies 2, which is Enterprise.
Yeah, I think we said that, though.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah.
Enterprise, Lightning, and Cinetel.
Three vastly different, but exactly the same production companies.
Only one is honest about what it is. The other two are trying to gild the lily a little bit, I think. Enterprise. Lightning, Cinetel.
Let me tell you, we're going to do something Cine-related.
Yeah. You know it's basically TV.
I can't say it's cinema.
Like the Jerry Seinfeld bit about the putting, like, words that sound like words into the names of cars. Like the new Integra. Integrity? No, Integra.
And why are you returning it? Out of spite.
Right. Yes. That is, of course, that episode with the stand-up bit at the beginning is the Jon Voight episode.
Yeah.
Where George is driving around in Jon Voight's car.
Great.
But it's not the Jon Voight you think.
Nope.
But
later, Jon Voight will bite him.
Yeah, well, he bites Kramer.
Oh, that's right, Kramer.
Yeah.
It does seem like that's today's Jon Voight.
Yes, absolutely. He'll either bite you or shoot you with an arrow. An arrow that he perceives pretending was his erection. If you've not seen Megalopolis,
yeah, I was going to say, that's a very specific joke.
I'm describing a real scene from that movie. And it's one of the better moments because it involves this sublimely fun acting in that movie that, despite everything else going on, is always enjoyable.
Yeah, I'll go along with that.
Yeah.
What a weird fucking movie, though.
I know. What a way to cap a career, because he can't afford to make any more movies now, and he's nearly dead.
He sold all his shit just to make that.
Can't afford to make any other movies. He's a very old man. Everyone around him has died. Mm-hmm. So in his generation, so there's not really much. That's it. That's his testimonial movie. Whether we like it or not,
he went out swinging.
If you think Eyes Wide Shut was a letdown, my God. Looks like a masterpiece compared to this.
Yeah. And then we move on to the Ghoulies.
Absolutely, and it's a it's a fluid transition from Kubrick to the Ghoulies.
No doubt.
I think Kubrick would have been into the Ghoulies. I think he would have had
He's subversive enough.
an absurd fascination with what was going on with the Ghoulies.
How fun would that be? A Kubrick fucking Ghoulies movie? I'd like to hear his pitch.
Coolies. They're like little. So you just, because essentially, and we'll talk about this, you can redesign the Ghoulies however you want.
Yeah, top hats.
So why top hat like Mr. Peanut?
Yeah.
But so presumably you could have little Stanley Kubrick Ghoulies going around. He's got a good ghoulie face, actually.
Sure.
I mean,
as do we. Just look at the posters.
Yeah, that's right. You didn't have to do much work to a couple of those images to make us the Ghoulies.
I have more of an alien head, like it's long that way. So I had to compress my bald head to fit that round ghoulie.
Well, it's also different from movie to movie as well. I think like a OG baby ghoulie from Ghoulies looks more like you than Ghoulies 2 ghoulie.
For some reason, I wanted to say thank you.
No, there's no compliments circulating.
All right. Well, of course, as always, I must ask you how difficult a task this was. Or did you have yourself a good time?
This might be the easiest pitch I've ever done for this show.
So much so I did too.
Oh, good. I mean, but the thing is, when you think about it, everything we've been talking about in relation to these movies makes it supremely easy to pitch a sequel.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever been in that situation before, where all the conditions of the movies are conducive to coming up with a sequel pitch, because you come up with an entirely original premise.
Right, that's the thing.
And it doesn't even really need to involve the Ghoulies if you don't want it to.
True.
That's your choice. That's at your discretion. How much you want to involve the Ghoulies is apparently
entirely
at your
up to
discretion.
you.
Yes. So you can basically take, if you have an original movie pitch, slap a couple of Ghoulies on it, and you're good. Good as Ghoulies.
Love it.
Yeah. Oh, I should have called my pitch Good as Ghoulies. I want to go back to the drawing board now.
Well, you've got time.
Yeah.
By that I mean seconds, and really that's all you need to spend time on the Ghoulies sequel. You can come up with one in seconds.
Well, now you've got two pitch. Because you have two pitches, I'm going to have to be the filling in the sandwich, I think, because I only got one.
All right.
Interestingly, though, it's funny how when you know you have to work less hard, you're not. It even though it seems easy, it's still challenging to come up with something original. Like, I find myself kind of drawing on other franchises.
Oh, really?
In order to do the Ghoulies, and I realized
I definitely feel like I did that for one of mine. No, that's not true. I guess for both, but one I felt like was inspired by a non-sequel, but one is partly inspired by a sequel.
But I realized halfway through, no, you can any idea you have for a movie, you can make it a Ghoulies.
I mean, the funny part...
Ghoulify it.
The funny part is that I think this series lends more to your strengths, because I always seem to want to find a connective thing and continue a narrative.
I've done that too. I've done that too weirdly, and I didn't need to. It wasn't implied in our mandate to do that. None of these movies do that.
Right. Well,
nonetheless,
4,
I felt
sort of.
Well, it circles back to
a character that bears no resemblance to the character.
That is not the same character. Yeah. And that's only because they I presumably knew they could get the footage and the actor.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I count that as seriality.
In name only.
But I've certainly tried to do that. I suppose the fact that that's left on the table is intriguing. The idea of is there any connective tissue between any of these Ghoulies stories that you could exploit?
Right.
So I've done a little bit of that, but otherwise it's an entirely new premise, but one based on on an existing franchise of movies that is not the Ghoulies.
Right.
So it's interesting that you sort of it's almost too much choice. It's too much fucking choice. You've literally got the whole of cinema to pick from, and I went for one, another franchise, and two, to stick to stuff that had already happened in the Ghoulies. Neither of which seems in the spirit of this series at all.
I like this. I think we're total opposites then.
Oh, you've really embraced the anthological dimension of the Ghoulies. Yeah,
I'd like to think so.
I really do think there should be a service out there, whoever currently owns the rights to the Ghoulies, to just say, you're having trouble getting interest in your movie pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Slap a couple of Ghoulies on it, and we'll send it out to the studios.
Love it.
I'm sure that is how franchise cinema is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
As we go on. I think there will be like companies just saying, we like this, but can you make it a Superman, or can you make it a Critters?
Like us.
Yeah.
Why the fuck aren't we watching the Critters?
I don't know why I picked it, because Critters has credibility.
You know what would be funny? It was when we finally do watch Critters, and if we both hate it. like if Ghoulies ended up being infinitely more enjoyable.
I think that's a strong possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a strong possibility. You know us. We're not convinced by everyone else's argument about anything.
Ever.
Yeah. So.
Temple of Doom, best of those sequels.
Right, yes. And we're recording on Father's Day.
We are indeed. Happy Father's Day, fathers. A little late by a month or so.
Yeah, but if you're marking your podcast recording calendar, there you go. There's an entry for you right there. Yeah. But Last Crusade is out in cinemas today.
That's right.
For Father's Day, and for no other reason.
I'm sure.
There was no anniversary. Yeah. Just like Paramount was like, let's try and recoup our Dial of Destiny money by re-releasing Last Crusade with the most tenuous of promotion.
They should have done a double bill of that and Stepfather.
Yeah. Well, today when I turned on my television, my LG TV was trying to sell me all kinds of Father's Day related movies. Father's Day, Mr. Mom.
That terrible Billy Crystal, Robin Williams Father's Day?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. I only saw it the once. I can't remember a single scene from it. I just remember it was bad.
I mean, the Godfather of father movies is the Godfather.
Yeah, of course.
Because he's an actual father. It should be called Actual Father.
That's not. I don't think it has the ring to it.
I think it would have been more successful. Has. I think it would have been the big one, Francis Ford Coppola.
When are you gonna make the big one? The one that really captures the audience.
It could have been Megalopolis. 50 years early. Anyway.
What's your big beef with the Nazis?
Exactly. That's what I think about whenever I see Last Crusade. Although, as we talked about, begrudging admiration for the Nazis in that movie also comes across, I think, there. The way that he films that ceremony.
The spectacle?
The book burnings. The book signing ceremony. There's a little bit of Spielberg, which, obviously the man who directed Schindler's List is. It's quite brave of him to go. Yeah, they had an aesthetic.
Say what you will. They throw a good book burning party.
I have an aesthetic. They have an aesthetic. We're not that different. Which you will probably spin into. Tom just said Steven Spielberg is a Nazi. I was quoted out of context. Damn it!
I'll bring that up months from now.
Yeah, I know you will. You're read. I can see you writing it down. But what? So you've embraced your pitch or pitches have embraced the variety of the Ghoulies.
Yeah,
the Ghoulies diaspora.
So much so that both titles have "go" in them.
Oh, interesting. I nearly went with "go," and then I realized that the movie I wanted to steal from didn't actually have "go" in the title.
Oh, okay.
And I thought it did.
Oh,
but I started with "go," and then then when I found out the title was different, I was like, well, I gotta make it that title.
So I guess it wasn't just the movie "Go."
Oh no, which is Doug Liman.
Yeah.
God, that is. I haven't thought about that movie in a long time. That was his follow-up to Swingers, wasn't it?
I think so.
Wow, couldn't get two more different movies.
Sarah Polley? Is that the one with Sarah Polley? And
yeah, all I remember is there was an actor from the British children's soap Grange Hill in it.
Oh, I think Timothy Olyphant's in it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If
it's the movie I'm thinking of.
Even at that time, when I was the right age for it, I still thought of it as a young person's movie that I didn't want to watch.
Even when I was young, I thought of myself as too old for this movie.
Much more so than I do now. I'd be more likely to embrace it as a 42-year-old man than I would have as a film snob, commercial hating teenager. Yeah, I'd be like, sorry, I'm too busy watching Wild Strawberries for the 15th time. I've got Belle de Jour to finish. Yeah, you're lucky I'm not still that guy, or this podcast would be hell for you.
Yeah, I like the guy you are now.
We would not be doing Ghoulies. That is for fucking sure. We would not be a Ghoulies family. No.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I like the guy who says Ocean's 11 is just no fun whatsoever, or is fun and I just don't care for it. But I like the guy who says, yeah, I mean, Ghoulies. I could get on board for Ghoulies.
Ghoulies 11.
Yeah.
Let's do it. See, and I was about to say we've already reimagined it with women, so sexism, pro-Nazi sentiments, I'm doing it all today.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, should we start?
Well, you should start, yes.
All right.
With your first... Are they pitches of equal scope?
Probably.
Oh, okay. That's unusual. Normally you have a thumbnail and a...
yeah, you usually have
a big boy.
An outline and a big boy. I think both of them might be somewhere in between those two.
Okay. Well, please.
The only question is which to do first. All right. I'm going to go with the one that I thought of first.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I'm calling this movie Ghoulies Go to the Movies.
Oh. Wow. You've got to go.
Yeah.
You've got to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And it nearly rhymes.
Ghoulies Movies.
Yeah.
It's close.
Yeah. I like this. So wait a minute. Now I just want to ask before you start.
Yes.
What I'm thinking now, the mental image I have is of Siskel and Ebert as different Ghoulies.
No.
Okay.
I understand why.
Well, yes. I suppose that would be Ghoulies at the movies.
Yeah, right.
That was the first thing that came into my mind. Again, because I think Roger Ebert would have made a fabulous Ghoulie.
Absolutely. Well,
and Gene
so would
Siskel,
Gene.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have been that big cannibal Ghoulie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big baby Ghoulie.
Ebert's the baby Ghoulie.
No, Ebert's that alligator frog Ghoulie.
Alligator? All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Ghoulies Go to the Movies opens in the office of a big executive in Hollywood.
Silent movie style.
And in steps...
Three Amigos style.
In steps a young auteur director. Kind of the new hit thing. And they're all excited that this talented young man... Think Quentin Tarantino at the beginning, but probably with less talent. But they think he could be the next kind of guy.
Oh, well, there's plenty of those. Who was Tarantino with less talent? Who was Tarantino-less? No Talentino. God, there were loads. Why can't I think of any?
Who was Well, now I want to just think of the rip-off movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know that... Like, if I said 2 Days in the Valley, I don't know that that was a young director.
Gary Fleder, who directed Fleder, who directed Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead.
Oh, yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Somebody like that. And he walks into the office, and they're like, all right, hit us. How many pitches you got? He's got, I've got one pitch. I want all my eggs in this basket. Do you remember the Ghoulies? And the executives kind of...
Oh, so it's present day.
Yeah.
I'm imagining the Three Amigos, like 1920s Joe Mantegna with a cigar. Fat Tony with a cigar.
Take the Amigos' clothes.
Joey Zaza with a cigar.
And so they all kind of look around and he goes, I want to do an original, get back to basics, monster movie, kind of like you and I were saying at the beginning of this podcast.
You made this up based on our conversation, didn't you?
Let's get back to some practical work. I want puppets, and I want to, really do justice to this series that I loved as a kid, and I think I can make it into something like Megan, but without the CGI of a Megan.
Sure.
But bring that kind of fun to the movie theaters that people seem to be enjoying. And at first hesitant, but then hearing upon his great enthusiasm, they're like, all right, I'm not sure this is a good idea. And he goes, listen, I've been researching this. I've been, I've been going.
I listened to a podcast about it.
Yeah.
The Everything Sequel podcast. But you can build in an ad for the show in your pitch, Mike. Come on.
The last thing he does is he goes, I've been doing a ton of research, and I've actually been going to old occult shops, and I even found...
You're going to say, like, the Ghoulies archives.
I even found this old spell book.
Ooh.
This is going to be our Ghoulies spell book. And to see, like, the passion that he had for it, they're like, all right, go.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out, of course, that this spell book is the actual spell book.
Yes.
From original Ghoulies.
Uh-huh.
And so...
Brilliant.
What happens is you get, into a situation where the characters are summoning within the spell book, and then it awakens original Ghoulies.
Yeah. Even
out of the prop toilet.
This really dehydrated ghoulie coming out of it. Like,
yeah.
No water in here.
So, of course, this ritual works, and the original Ghoulies are summoned back into our world.
Yeah.
And they're essentially possessing this film set. And so it has that kind of Scream 3 vibe. That's what I was starting to think of.
Yeah.
On set shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Where, whatever. You have the animatronic.
Well, it also sounds, if I may,
Yes.
because that's not a very well liked movie, to associate it with a movie that's perhaps more favored, New Nightmare.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, the parallel of summoning the real Freddy Krueger while you're making a movie
about Freddy Krueger. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think of that.
Probably lack of self-esteem.
Well, it's always present.
Because you're comparing it to Scream 3, but right now it's like,
I think Scream 3 is underrated. We haven't gotten there yet, so I'll say no more.
We'll get there one day, but you could have even compared it to Scream 2, because that's where the
True.
the kind of looking at the screen, looking back at reality.
Well, I guess what I thought of was the direct correlation, and New Nightmare has this, but I was thinking of the direct correlation of a movie being filmed.
Oh yeah, there's also there's a Chucky. Is it Cult of Chucky? The one after Bride of Chucky with the.
I think that's Cult.
Yeah, that's also a very Scream 3 like, because it's mostly on a movie set with the real Jennifer Tilly.
Mm.
So.
Yeah.
And we'll do that one day, but when we do, remind me to talk about the way that Jennifer Tilly says Redman. when she's referring to Redman, she says, "Thank you, Redman." It's the best thing in that series.
That's great.
Yeah. One of Hollywood's best Asian actors, Jennifer Tilly. I know that wasn't on our podcast. I know that was a How Dare You conversation. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
You found out in real time.
In real time that
she's half Asian.
She's half Asian. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I couldn't conceive of something Chu knew that I didn't.
Yeah, that's what the episode was about, and that's why it was a great episode. It was like therapy.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, what you're going to have is lots of shenanigans and accidents on set, you know?
Hmm.
And finally, real actors are going to start dying. And you might think you have a puppet ghoulie when in reality you have a ghoulie.
Mm-hmm.
And
I like that.
So, as people start dying in real life, the director starts making it so that they've died. You know, their death on camera means their death.
Yeah.
In life means they're also dead in the movie, and they just try to keep going.
Oh, they try and incorporate the deaths into...
Yeah.
Like, have off-screen deaths and then show the corpse.
Right. And then it'll kind of show that money-churning, behind-the-scenes Hollywood thing of, listen, hey, I think we got to stop production. People are dying. And both the director and the studio are like, I think we got to get to the end. We're all professionals. Let's just keep going, you know?
Yeah.
And try to finish this thing with
Poltergeist 3 style,
with or without Carrie Fisher or Heather or
like
Rourke.
Poltergeist 3. Where yeah, exactly. They're just so like, no, let's keep filming and release it. Or probably more akin to the Ghoulies series, Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah, sure.
With the fake Bela Lugosi.
Love it.
Guy. Fantastic, yeah.
Well, by the end, what I want is, I also kind of want to get this aspect of the Ghoulies loving being movie stars.
Mm-hmm.
And so they start becoming divas, and you can have the Ghoulies coming up with ideas for the next shots of scenes and that kind of thing.
So they are verbal in your...
Yeah, they'll be verbal, and the director
Okay.
kind of keeps looking over to the puppeteers, and he's like, these things are fucking amazing. That's a good idea, Tom.
I love the idea. They just look, the Ghoulies are like, you're sort of giving notes on the scenes, like with their lattes.
Yeah.
And sunglasses sitting in the director's chair. And then the director kind of looks over and the puppet guy is like working on working on something else all the way over the other side.
Somewhere else, exactly.
And he just looking back and forth.
He's like, "That's a great idea, Tom." And Tom looks over confused and he gives a thumbs up. Thanks.
He's wearing headphones like a black guy in the 80s.
Well, eventually what I want is by the end, the Ghoulies realize that they must... It's kind of like Ghoulies 2, where they're inside the attraction the whole time, and then that side door splits open, and they're like, "Hey, look at this." So they realize... Oh,
so they think this is reality.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
So they realize if they can get outside of the studio, they can really run amok and maybe run all of Hollywood. So then it becomes in the last act, in the last kind of Halloween-esque, once Michael and Jamie Lee start actually battling, like that little part.
Yeah.
It's all a battle between cast and crew versus these Ghoulies to keep them contained on set and banish them back to the toilet.
Back to hell? ?
Correct.
Because that's never established.
It's never established. But that's Ghoulies Go to the Movies.
There might be something to say about that in my pitch.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. Very good.
Excellent.
Well, I love that. That's a post-Scream Ghoulies movie that sounds like it could actually also be scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's so much potential there to talk about the Cobra Kai style, the way that the series has kind of bastardized itself in its various iterations.
Sure, right.
That you can always, you can reclaim the little people Ghoulies, the Ghoulies that talk, the Ghoulies that don't.
I was just gonna say it also it kind of harkens back to the Gremlins, and it can be Gremlins and Gremlins 2. That idea of the different personality of Ghoulies and how they take on Hollywood and what becomes of them.
I guess that's true. I mean, Gremlins 2 adds a talking gremlin.
Yeah.
More than one, or just Smart Gremlin?
Yeah, I think it's just Smart. I think it's just Tony Randall Gremlin.
Interesting. Because that's funny. That's funny as well. Like, I don't know. Well, I don't think of it as a kind of travestying of the creature, and yet there is, I think, a lot of messing around with the design of the gremlins in that movie.
Sure.
But it's kind of the point of the movie.
I was gonna say that's the point of it, though, I think.
Whereas it just kind of happens in the Ghoulies movies without commentary.
Mm-hmm.
As if it's always been that way.
Yeah, it seems like Dante's not going for inversions, but subversions.
Subversions and explosions and and chaos and anarchy
in the most delightful way.
Yeah, I mean it's a kind of he's doing cinematically what the Gremlins do, which is to kind of reproduce, repopulate, and reinvent themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the nature of the creature.
Yeah, that's a great way to think of it. Yeah,
the way that it isn't with, because it goes from a Mogwai to it goes from one Mogwai to
lots of monsters,
thousands of gremlins. So yeah, but in the Ghoulies, it's not. There's no logic to it. There's there's no kind of biological fidelity.
No.
To what the Ghoulies are, and
except maybe toilets.
Yeah, toilets is they come from
toilets and pentagrams.
That's interesting, because I hadn't thought about, like, why do they come out of the toilet? Like, why is the hell in a toilet?
Well, I have an answer for that, but
from the original movie.
No, from my own experience.
Oh. I thought you were going to tell me that was explained in Ghoulies.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but they don't lean into that aspect of it. It's not.
No, that's true.
There's just such a terrible turd in there that it kind of creates a porthole to hell.
Right. Yeah.
It's always like green steamy, foggy toilet water, which is like not, at least my pee isn't that color. Hopefully yours is not too, or you're drinking far too much Mountain Dew.
I drank way too much Mountain Dew at a time in my life. I had to quit that stuff like it was heroin.
Oh, me too. It is. It's not. It's really interesting with Mountain Dew because it's like if you think about soft drinks as drugs, which
They
is
are.
a completely fair analogy.
Yeah.
More drugs than some drugs.
Yeah.
Some illegal drugs. Mountain Dew is, I think, one that's it's kind of like it's the ketamine of.
It absolutely is.
It's the ketamine of soft drinks because it's got all the bad qualities of all the drugs, and it could kill you.
Yeah. I actually quit Mountain Dew. I remember I was watching one of those it was a television show, but it was following those sort of Doctors on Wheels kind of programs.
Yes.
And they were sending doctors and dentists into like really small rural kind of Appalachian towns who just don't have a lot of health care, and where poverty is such a problem that parents who can't afford milk would give like Pepsi to 2-year-olds just to give them empty calories.
Yeah.
And this dentist looked into the mouth of a teenager, I mean, for no longer than 3 or 4 seconds. And he said, "Do you like soda?" And he goes, yeah, I like soda a lot. And he goes, "Which one's your favorite?" And he says, "Mountain Dew." And he goes, "Yeah, I knew that was your favorite. You have to stop drinking that one."
Yeah.
And he said, "Why?" And he's like, "That one's the worst one. That one's the worst for you." And he looked at this kid's mouth for 3 seconds, and I thought,
Yeah.
oh, that's no good.
And the kid's response was, "Well, how else can I take it?
Yeah.
Can I do an IV? A supplement? A suppository?"
Yeah, can I just stick the bottle in my butt?
Oh. Well, on that note, we've lowered the bar enough that I can try and get away with my pitch.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me that landing strip.
That's what I'm here for.
So, this is one of those. It's interesting because, like I said, the whole of cinema in front of you in terms of what you can do.
Sure.
And still, a title came to me, and I reverse engineered a pitch.
Stuck with it.
So, yeah. So it's just sometimes, adversity breeds creativity, and not the other way around.
Sure.
So the name of my pitch is Ghoulie, Come Home. Now, do you know what other franchise I'm thinking of with that title?
Isn't there a Mark Harmon movie called Coming Home?
No, it's not about Vietnam veterans.
All right.
Although now I wish it was, and I may rewrite it as such.
All right.
No, so what instantly came to me, I thought, because the go in Ghoulies go to college, I think I fixated on that, and I thought, I want this to have go in. I want my title to have a go in it.
Yeah.
And so I saw, and then I was like, and then in my head I went, Ghoulie go home. So it could be like, Lassie go home.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And then I looked it up and realized that's not what that movie's called. It's called Lassie Come Home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I thought, okay, well, I guess my title is now Ghoulie Come Home.
Love it.
And then I looked up the plot of Lassie Come Home, having never seen it or really having any idea what it's about.
I think I saw it when I was a kid, but I don't remember a single thing about it.
And I thought, how could this be a Ghoulie movie? And so I kind of transplanted aspects of the storyline of Lassie Come Home onto Ghoulie Come Home.
All right.
But this is, I guess this is what, and again, when you need to kind of grab onto a focal point. So I think I was just kind of clutching at straws to find one.
Yeah, clutch. That's what I like to do, clutch.
Please don't express yourself in that fashion ever again.
Straws. Give me all the straws.
Oh,
Gotta clutch those straws.
I hope yours is not that thin. Anyway, Where was I?
I don't know.
I was like, well, at what point could the story events of Lassie Come Home be introduced into a Ghoulies franchise? And I just think, well,
is the ghoulie a pet and they lose him?
all right, don't don't spoil everything for the audience. Yeah, so I immediately thought, and I think just because this is the mental image I get whenever I think of anything to do with Ghoulies, having seen 2 to 4, it's the priest running with that big bag of Ghoulies at the beginning of
Ghoulies 2?
At the not beginning of Ghoulies 2, the scene that absolutely should have begun the movie. And so then I thought, what if, as he was hauling that big bag of Ghoulies, running away from the Ku Klux Klan fellows,
red-robed bastards,
as yet unidentified pursuers, we lost a ghoulie on the way. Didn't make it to that extremely toxic barrel of chemicals in the garage. I don't know what that place was. Some place where an extremely toxic barrel of chemicals can be, legitimately.
So literally, your story literally takes place around that time. That ghoulie fell out of the bag.
Ghoulie fell out of the bag, fell into, let's say, a ravine.
Let's say Mo.
And then, it went into survival mode. It did the whole E.T. thing of going through the woods and then nestling in a garden of a nearby suburban home.
Picking up Rolos from a kid.
Isn't it? Oh, is it Rolos? I remember Reese's Pieces, but are there Rolos as well?
It's Reese's Pieces in E.T., but...
Oh, I have to...
You gotta do something
whatever,
different.
Whatever Italian candy is available. He's, the little kid's putting out some molto benes, or whatever the Italian
jars
candy.
of Nutella.
And he starts to invite him in, and the whole thing, again, thinking of E.T., that whole sequence at the beginning where you don't get to see E.T.
Yeah,
and that's the way I want to do it here, especially as we never know what the Ghoulies are going to look like until the movie begins. So we know what they look like when they come out of that bag, but there's a lot of different ones in there, so we don't know what the one that got away looks like. So we keep it a secret. We keep it all in silhouette and off-screen, hidden creature POV until he finally dances with wolf styles. The little boy from the suburban home kind of with his tames him with the molto benes, and eventually gets him to come out into the light, the night light of the garden, into the security light of the garden, and we see that it's a ghoulie that looks rather like could be mistaken for like a French bulldog or a Boston Terrier. So he immediately thinks, it's a lost dog.
Yeah.
And I was also influenced, like last weekend I saw the Lilo and Stitch live action remake, and there's a lot in there about everyone kind of suspending disbelief that Lilo is some kind of a dog. And I think that was on my mind when I came up with this. It's handled really well in the movie. There's a great moment where he's in a high chair, and this guy comes by. It's like, "Are you sure that's a dog?" And then Stitch just kind of looks around to everyone and goes, "Woof." And so that's kind of what I do here. By the way, because it's Ghoulies 2, he's a non-verbal ghoulie.
All right.
Okay, whatever came out of that bag, I'm assuming is a non-verbal ghoulie. It just makes sounds. Another reason why you might mistake it for a dog.
Perfect.
So, because if it was talking, you'd be like, "Hey, that's not a dog. That's something else going on." So he's not talking, and this. I don't. Again, we're not going to go into detail about where the Ghoulies have come from, but the idea is whenever they're summoned, they're kind of born anew and they learn the world there and then. Right, they kind of, whatever their formative experiences is how they understand the world. So this ghoulie being treated like a dog thinks it's a dog, and it kind of goes to dog parks and has dog friends and like nobody's the wiser. So that's kind of all established, and then the lassie come home of it all, where that story kind of takes over. So what happens in Lassie Come Home is essentially the family that Lassie belongs to fall on hard times, and there's like a local landowner who keeps coming over saying, I'll help you out, I'll buy that dog for you, he can be my sheepdog, and he can herd the sheep and look after the farm.
Not Lassie, Dad.
Yeah, and then they're so because this is depression hit Yorkshire of the 1920s. They're like, we've got no choice. We've got to do it. So the landowner in this scenario is the local rancher. Like he is like owns like a nearby cow ranch, and he's he comes by and he sees it. It's like, I want to I'd love a dog like that. I have a son.
Well taken care of.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. So they eventually end up giving to him, but once they've given to him, it's kind of revealed Mr. Burns
He's
style.
a monster, yeah.
Well, not just that, he's one of the guys, the Ku Klux Klan guys.
Oh God.
He's one of those guys who originally kind of summoned the Ghoulies, and now, he's seen that the dude ghoulie thinks it's a dog, and he has to basically recondition it to be the ghoulie he always wanted it to be, and to do his evil bidding,
nefarious bidding, yeah.
Yeah, and so he sends him off to basically to ghoulie boot camp.
Mm-hmm.
Bully camp. So this is where whenever the ghoulies are summoned, if there's ever like a runt in the litter that doesn't quite get that it's supposed to be evil and murder, it will be sent to the ghoulie boot camp. In the middle of nowhere, where it learns how to be an effective murderous demon.
Right.
And you can basically have the Ghoulies from Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Goes to College there. Because these were really more pranksters than murderers. They weren't as interested in the murder part, so we've got to kind of make them more murder forward as Ghoulies. And then over you can see over at the end of the courtyard there's the little people Ghoulies, and it's like they're more of a lost cause. I don't think we took them to boot camp as a kind of final option, but we're pretty sure we're gonna dissolve.
They're useless as Ghoulies.
We're pretty sure we're gonna flush them back down the toilet. And Ghoulies boot camp, and it's shown that this is hundreds of miles away from his home. And in Lassie Come Home, it's the same. He's sent from Yorkshire to Scotland, which to Americans probably doesn't sound like a long distance, but it's it's a good few hundred miles. Yeah. What happens is French Bulldog Ghoulie escapes the boot camp, and then tries to find his way, Littlest Hobo style, home, back to the boy. Along the way, whilst being pursued by the cult of
Chucky. Sorry.
the red Ku Klux Klan guys
Yeah.
are kind of trying to stop him, and he's trying to get home, and they're trying to prevent him from getting home. And I guess the only way that you could kind of bring the kid into it, so the kid's not just kind of sitting there moping at home, waiting for...
I was going to ask you, how do they handle that in Lassie Come Home? Do they...
I don't know. I didn't read that part.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, because you can do what you want with the Ghoulies, he's a psychic Ghoulie. So he's formed a psychic connection with the boy. And again, E.T. style.
Yeah.
So he can communicate and let the boy know he's coming, and so... The boy is going out to try and find him. He's trying to get home, and the Ku Klux Klan guys are trying to chase him.
Yeah.
But essentially, it will kind of end in a showdown where all three parts of this will kind of meet in one scene, and it's really about can the boy save his pet French Bulldog Ghoulie, from being returned to hell by the Ku Klux Klan guys. So that's Ghoulie come home.
Ghoulie come home.
Yeah.
What a delight.
Yeah. I'm really glad that for whatever reason my brain went to Lassie because and it really is because Ghoulie and Lassie both end with an IE, I think. I don't know. Movies have been made for more stupid reasons.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, for instance, Steven Seagal is available.
Yeah.
Or Kevin James has is on hiatus from King of Queens, that kind of thing. So why not Lassie Ghoulie?
Yeah, I love that.
So that's
to glom the Ghoulies onto the wholesome idea of Lassie.
Yeah,
that pleases me.
I suppose it's like a it's kind of what are the two those kind of theories of existentialism, free will, free will and determinism,
right?
Yeah. What nature or nurture? So all of those questions are being played out in Ghoulie Come Home.
Philosophically deep, Ghoulie Come Home.
Is a ghoulie always gonna be a murderous demon,
a piece of shit,
or can it be? And if you look over the three movies, you get both answers. That they can be the heroes, they can be bystanders, or they can be villains.
True.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Love it.
All right, pitch number 2.
Yeah. So I guess the reason I thought
you got a sequel to your own sequel pitch.
Yeah, I've got number 6 in the bag. Maybe I should call it that. But I have another go title.
In the bag? Ghoulies in the bag.
Ghoulies in the bag.
Bag of ghoulies.
It's just them being carried by that priest the whole film, and it's them like...
It's all filmed in GoPro from inside the bag.
It's them with, like, their imaginings of what they'd like to be doing.
Yeah. Oh, like
what are you going to do when we escape out of this bag? Well, let me tell you.
6 characters in search of an author.
Yep.
6 ghoulies in search of an author.
Oh, that's good. All right. I'm calling my second one. I had 2 titles. I think I'm going to stick with this one. Ghoulies Go to Space.
Oh, it was right there in front of me.
Yeah, every good series ends up in space.
Why didn't I think about space?
Yeah.
Leprechaun's been there.
Yep.
Jason's been there.
Jason.
The Fast and the Furious have been there. Did it ever come out, that movie where Machete went there? Did Machete in Space ever come out eventually, or is it still being made? I know it was in production at one point. Muppets
in Space. Is there more? There's more than one Machete movie, right?
There's Machete and Machete Kills, and I believe the next on the list was Machete in Space, but I don't know if it ever got made.
All right. I don't know if I ever saw Machete Kills.
Oh, I definitely didn't.
Okay. Of course.
No, I enjoyed Machete very much.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the trailer that it's based on as well.
Sure.
With introducing Carlos Estevez.
Well, we're in a futuristic time. Whatever. 2198. Something like that.
George Jetson.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. His wife Judy. Dun,
And
dun, dun, dun.
we're very much on a alien kind of type salvage, original alien salvage kind of ship, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Like the Nostromo.
This is just sounding like Jason X so far.
Is it? It's a lot. A lot of the beginning of this is going to be very Jason X.
Oh, that was a compliment.
Now that I think about it, yeah, you're right. Because what we're going to find is a derelict spacecraft signal on a moon.
No, never a good thing.
And so our heroes decide to go down there, and it's they get this What's that?
Nothing. I'm just coming up with new titles. Ghoulies go down.
That sounds like Ghoulies giving a blowjob.
Yeah, well, that Wynorski would be all over that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ghoulies go down.
That filthy Wynorski.
You know what would be? It's hilarious. Is the people, if they didn't know the Ghoulies and they saw Wynorski's resume, they'd assume Ghoulies was another one of his pawns.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they go down and they're gonna find like a sarcophagus.
Uh-huh.
And they don't open it up, but they think it's important, so they're gonna bring it on the ship. But
so many elementary science fiction mistakes going on here. Rookie errors of science fiction movies.
well, so I have this character in mind who's sort of second lieutenant guy, you know? Wishes he could be more than he is kind of a guy. And he's the one that says, like, I recognize this as an important artifact. We need to bring it back.
Sure.
And there are misgivings, but he assures that this is gonna, you know, the higher ups are really gonna love them. Like they might get promoted, all of them, for bringing this in. So they bring it in. But I also have this idea of the star, essentially the sun of this system, being kind of behind another moon. And it's like a time sensitive thing of like, you can't really get hit directly by the sunlight. I'm not a man of science, Tom. It's poisonous in some way. It's bad. It'll do bad things.
Watching you abandon the bullshit science you're inventing in real time was very pleasing.
Yeah, I did that just for you.
Every science fiction pitch has that moment where you're just like, so is this like, no, that's just bullshit. There's nothing in science that represents that. Okay,
no, yeah.
All right, it's poisonous. It's bad.
That's
for
just
some reason.
That's just the way I imagine it in my head. Poisonous sun rays.
This equals bad.
Yeah. And they're like loading the sarcophagus into their ship, which have the shields, of course, like the shields from the rays. But the astronauts kind of are pulling it in, so they're inside the ship, and then just as the head of the sarcophagus is coming in, the sun comes out, and then they pull it in, and they're like, I think we're okay. Essentially what that sun has done, because of course inside are dormant ghoulies, and on top of the sarcophagus, you know, like an ornate kind of sarcophagus, like a outer shell, like a, you know, mummified, but in the mummy kind of tomb way, like that kind of thing.
So is it gonna be like a full body mummy that's wrapped up, and when they unwrap it, there's a tiny ghoulie inside?
Like there's ghoulie sections,
like a Kinder egg.
Yeah, but I imagine, you know, inside the mummy casing, but the ornateness inside, there's like another book, and this guy's like, oh, look at this, we can take this out, and he's looking at it, and they're like, I really don't think we should touch it. He's like, I'm just gonna examine it. It's the book. Like relax. And of course he starts doing the incantations, and then the ghoulies come alive and start tearing apart the sarcophagus, and out they come.
Yeah.
But what they'll discover is that the sun rays have given our ghoulies some extra powers. They can shapeshift into, like, one of them can shapeshift into crew members. One of them can do telekinetic shit.
No, that's mine. You can't steal that.
I know. When you said that, I was like, oh.
Even though I came up with it as I was talking, it's still.
When you said that, I almost said we have same ideas.
No,
going
that's
on.
fine. You can have a telekinetic ghoulie.
And then the other one was he can kind of, because there are also a couple of androids on the ship, and he can code them, almost like to become them.
Oh, wait. Code
like
the robots to become the ghoulies, or the ghoulies to become the robots?
To control the androids.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
I was thinking, well, or a cyborg ghoulie, maybe?
Like become a cyborg? Or
Yeah, it'd be like half robot, half ghoulie. Like Jason,
Jason X?
Spacin', yeah.
Yeah, Spacin'. I was thinking more the other way around, like the ghoulie kind of dissipates and goes into the android and becomes the android.
Okay. Like it.
One by one, of course, the crew is going to start succumbing to the ghoulies, and they're gonna like go back to the sarcophagus, and like it's gonna be all ripped apart, and they're gonna be like, "I told you we shouldn't have done this." And then it's a big battle to the death until we flush the ghoulies out of the space toilet. We got to get them to the space toilet, Tom.
Oh, zero gravity toilet.
Flush them into outer space.
Is it going to be like the plaque from 2001: A Space Odyssey on there about how to use the zero gravity toilet? And I want a ghoulie. I want a ghoulie like going through that, going.
Yeah.
And again, I have to ask the question:
Yes.
are these ghoulies verbal in this pitch?
Yes, I imagine them still as verbal.
I think that's the right call. That's the right call.
Yeah.
So it'll be more like the Richard Kind going, 1, make sure that all objects are clear from the area.
Well, what I
when
thought
you're in
was...
town, you call. You call when you're in
You
town.
call. You just... Well, who doesn't call?
I had turkey for lunch, but that's okay. That's okay.
Why won't you do that? So what I imagined towards the end, though, was that as the crew is battling them, the only way they can really try to dampen or fuck with these new powers the Ghoulies have is to take the ship near a black hole.
Oh, wow.
And gravitational
We're back
forces
to real science now.
Well, fuck
None
with
of
the
this
Ghoulies in a way.
poisonous sun bullshit. We're back to real science.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It'll fuck enough with the Ghoulies that they can...
Oh, they're going to get sucked into a black hole?
Yeah. Well, they're going to get near the black hole because it dampens their powers and they can get them to the toilet and flush them out
Oh, I see. Okay.
into the black hole.
I like the idea of them getting sucked into the black hole as well.
Well, maybe that's for the sequel after the sequel.
Ah. Ghoulie black hole.
Ghoulies go to the black hole.
The black ghoulie. No,
Yeah.
that's a very different.
Or
that's
Ghoulies go to
4.
space. Ghoulies go to space too. And that's Ghoulies go to
Black
space.
Hole Sun. Do you know Black Hole Sun? You know that song?
I don't know.
It's with your minimal music tastes that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
You might have heard of it. You heard of Soundgarden?
Yeah.
Chris Cornell. Black hole sun, won't you come? That one? No? Ever heard that?
I don't know.
Like a little grunge, like low-key grunge kind of sound. No? Alright. Never mind.
Yeah, so it's not ringing bells. But, you know, what am I going to do? Oh, wait, I forgot. I had, what were taglines? I thought of taglines.
Oh.
For this one, in space, no one can hear you.
Flush.
Well, I couldn't decide between kill and giggle, like the giggling Ghoulies.
No, flush. Gotta make it about the toilet. Always about the toilet. Gotta make it about the toilet.
And then for Ghoulies go to the movies.
By the way, I've never attempted a Richard Kind impression before. Because impressions are all about how you move your face and mouth essentially to become the person.
Uh-huh.
I have to move my face and mouth alarmingly little in order to create the Richard Kind sound. My face is set up for a Richard Kind impression. So I just, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, for Ghoulies go to the movies, lights, camera, kill.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's almost too good though. That's kind of, that sounds like the tagline of a better movie. Like I would. Lights, camera, ghoulie. Lights, camera, toilet.
I can have a good tagline in my shitty movie. Thank you.
That could be like the tagline to Peeping Tom, or fucking, a really good movie.
Or Scream 3 or New Nightmare.
Or a really good movie.
We're not declaring yet. Calm down.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you know how much I love Parker Posey, you know that I probably do have some affection for that movie.
All right, good. Piper, no. That's it.
Yes.
Well, you don't have a second one, do you?
No, I could, and I wouldn't dare to follow that. That was great. Like I said, like when you've gone to, we said this before. When you go to space, you're basically you're calling the shots. You're calling it a day at that point, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's your end game. Once you go to space, that's your end game.
Done.
Yeah. Even Jason couldn't come back from it. They had to move on to
exactly. He had to move on to reboot
and matchups, and now potentially nothing. Maybe a prequel series.
Yeah, just 2 days ago it was Friday the 13th, and I didn't get a new Friday the 13th movie out. What are they doing?
They can't. To be fair, they can't. There are more Friday the 13th in the calendar than there are capable of being movies.
I disagree. Every Friday the 13th, a Friday the 13th movie should come out.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess you could make it like a streaming movie, because there's no care and attention put into those.
I was wondering how you're going to dig them.
Oh, well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Some of our best work.
Yeah.
Well, some of your best work, certainly. Mine was...
No, I like Ghoulie Come Home.
Yeah. I mean, if we can clear the rights, we'll be on to a winner. I think that's the big hurdle.
I love the idea of you going into an office with the guy who owns Lassie Come Home.
And the guy who owns Ghoulies on different sides of the table. It's like, this is the vehicle you have both been looking for. He's like, both of us? Because I'm not seeing much of a connection between both of us.
I just like the idea of the Lassie Come Home guy going, yeah, whatever. Go ahead.
Well, at this point, they're probably just some, trust fund kid.
True.
Or trust fund grandchild by this point, probably.
Great-grandchild, maybe.
Maybe. Well, the movie... So, I don't know, were they books before they were movies, or were they only movies?
I have no idea.
I don't know, how would you write a book? Oh, the dog
well, I think first you gotta...
Walked over the hill. It saw a sheep, and it herded the sheep. It doesn't seem very literary. Because the fun of the Lassie movie is looking at a cute dog.
Yeah.
So
you have to give more thoughts and feelings.
They were set in the early 20th century, but I think the movies only came out in the 60s, 50s and 60s. So I don't know who owns it now.
Is that right? Because I have a memory of going to see a Lassie movie. Maybe it wasn't Lassie Come Home then. Or maybe it was something I watched on TV.
It could have been. It's probably like Columbo. It went on longer than you think.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, though, I also thought. I mean, for a long time into adulthood. Adulthood? I don't know. Teens. I thought Mary Poppins came out in 80 or 81 or whenever it was re-released, and I saw it in theaters.
I think, we're different generations, but both our generations have a very different idea of the timeline of pop culture because of the way it was kind of recycled in our formative years. Sure. And it's interesting because now is sort of the same, but it's much more open. I feel like there's no boundaries and there's no center. So it's like the other day I was just walking around the college campus where I work, And it's like seeing like 20, 21-year-olds with like Pink Floyd t-shirts or Rolling Stones t-shirts, and I'm like, now what's that about?
Did you actually listen to that music?
Well, yeah, I'm like, what? Where's that? But you know, and obviously, I want to keep, want to keep my job and or not get arrested by campus security, so I can't go up to these people and saying, so
tell me about your shirt.
Yeah. I was like, where's this impetus where's the impetus to define your style this way coming from?
Yeah.
And I think it is just that everything is available all the time and you can completely cherry pick whatever you want from about 50 to 100 years worth of pop culture.
Yeah.
But for us, it was very specific.
That shirt looks cool.
But for us, it was very specifically like, no, this will always, this is in syndication right now, or this aspect of this pulp culture from 20 years ago is here because, well, let's face it, it's probably cheap to show. Probably costs no money, and that's why.
All right.
There you go. You didn't think you'd get a full and frank discussion of the way pop culture's changed in the Ghoulies pitching episode, did you? But you did.
You're welcome. Well, you're going to have to tell us, ladies and gentlemen, which of these pitches you like, or, of course, we'd like to hear your pitches for the Ghoulies series. Go ahead and, as recommended before, watch all those Ghoulies movies and then come up with your own Ghoulies pitch. I don't think you even really need to watch them.
No, you
come
could
up with your own.
If you've listened to these episodes, you know about as much about the Ghoulies as we do.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so if you're going to pitch to us, go ahead and send it to us on the books and the grams and the X's and the skis.
Yeah.
And threads.
Threads. And the... You always Shatner the threads.
I get excited that I remember it.
Threads!
I don't understand what threads is. Is threads a X for Instagram?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
You could not have put that better.
Thank you.
And it was a time. It was. I think it kind of. It at the time it was supposed to be the alternative to X when X was becoming incredibly right wing, and then just everything in social media became right wing, so it didn't matter anymore.
Because it all became terrible at once.
Yeah.
Or send an email to everythingsequel@gmail.com. For Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions, Michael Shantz here. I'm from the How Dare You Awards. When you hear us next time, we won't be on this thread.
No.
We'll be on YouTube doing our posters.
Yes.
So listen to that on YouTube, and we'll announce our next series.
If you like...
Oh, I'm excited. I don't know if Tom's excited, but I'm excited.
I'm excited. If you like the color green, you'll love that poster ranking episode. Green is your favorite color. It's the one to watch, I tells you.
All right. Say goodbye to everybody, Tom.
Anyone ever tell you look a little bit like Al Pacino?
Boy, do they.
No one has ever told that actor that they look anything like Al Pacino.
No, I know.
The guy 2 rungs above him on the Hollywood ladder looks a little bit like Al Pacino. He looks a little bit like that guy.
Right.
The guy who isn't Al Pacino, but looks like Al Pacino.
He looks like Scott Baio's unsuccessful brother.
That's fantastic. And I just thought of do you know who he looks like?
Tell me.
Jimmy 2 Times from Goodfellas.
He does look like
go
him.
Get the
You're
papers,
right.
Get the papers.
Gotta go get the papers. Get the papers. Oh, the Foley work there, like the timing of that is perfect.
Oh, that whole sequence, the name Fat Andy,
Amazing,
and because we saw it recently, and I realized that one of those names wasn't spelt the way I thought it was, and it was like I found a whole nother joke in there that I didn't know until I looked at the credits.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back.
I like to think I know something about beer, but nowadays even I get overwhelmed when confronted by the exhaustive selection of craft beers they have at bars, breweries, and even grocery stores. Back in the day you had one, maybe two craft beers to choose from, and if you were confused, you ordered a Guinness. But in beerstinations like San Diego, the craft beer options lately are in double, sometimes even triple digits. So what's a beer drinker to do? You need what I need, the Vegas Beer Guys. Your beer of choice should be a perfect blend of malt and hops. And so a live show about beer needs that same balance. And the Vegas Beer Guys matches beer expert Dan Aker with self-proclaimed beer novice Stephen J. Weiss. The results are eminently drinkable. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. They'll try new beers, they'll tell you about beer. Think of them as your beer Sherpas guiding you up a foamy-headed mountain to reach the peak of your pint. God, I need a beer.